The hero of our video today is the child of star parents who was forbidden from attending auditions as a child, but got into the film industry at the first opportunity. Jack Quaid, the son of actors Meg Ryan and Dennis Quaid, rose to fame thanks to his role in the series The Boys. When did he realize that his parents were famous? Why did he refuse his father's help? Why was he hated by the Hunger Games fans? And how did he himself become a Star Wars hater? We'll tell you about this and much more right now. Jack Quaid, how Meg Ryan's son became a star of The Boys. Childhood under the spotlight. Jack Henry Quaid is a part of the much-discussed group of Nepo babies, children of famous parents. His mother is Meg Ryan and his father is Dennis Quaid. They began dating while filming the movie DOA, got married in 1991, and on April 24, 92, their son Jack was born. To him, the famous actors Ryan and Quaid were just mom and dad. Jack only started to realize his parents' celebrity status when their separation in 2000 and subsequent divorce became widely covered in the media. The press accused Meg of having an affair with Russell Crowe, but she claimed that the marriage had fallen apart long before Crowe. It was only many years later that the actress revealed it was Dennis who had been unfaithful to her. Despite the scandalous breakup, the Hollywood stars managed to restore their friendship and co-parented Jack together. However, he spent most of his time with his mother and often visited the sets of her movies. It's no surprise that the boy also became an actor. But comedy came first. In school, young Quaid participated in a comedy club where he would create sketches and even do stand-up. Like many of his peers, Jack was a huge fan of comic books. During summer vacations, he spent all his time devouring graphic novels about the X-Men, Spider-Man, Superman, and other heroes. Jack says that even if his mom and dad weren't Hollywood stars, he would have still found his way into acting sooner or later. However, he acknowledges that his childhood was far from ordinary. While most parents might be taken aback when their children express a desire to pursue an acting career, his parents did the opposite. They showed him through their own example that it was possible. Jack's debut in acting was in a school production of A Midsummer Night's Dream. He played Nick Bottom, the character who turns into a donkey, and had a great time. As a teenager, Jack might have wanted to act outside of drama club, but his parents forbade him from auditioning until he turned 18. As he grew older, Jack came to understand and appreciate their decision. In high school, Quaid attended the private Crossroads School in Santa Monica, which boasts a long list of famous alumni. Many Hollywood stars sent their children there. After graduating, Quaid enrolled in the Tisch School of the Arts at New York University. However, he never completed his degree, leaving after just 3 years. The Hunger Games. Upon turning 18, Jack informed his parents of his desire to audition for a role in the science fiction action movie, The Hunger Games. They supported their son, with Dennis Quaid even offering the services of his agent, but Jack declined. He wanted to ensure that he achieved success on his own, as much as possible considering his background. "I never wanted anyone to say to me, 'I know how you got this job,'" he says. Incidentally, at one of his first auditions, Jack was bluntly told, "We thought you would be an idiot, but you are really good." Jack successfully auditioned for The Hunger Games, which was released in 2012, and got a small role as Marvel. He was incredibly grateful for the opportunity to appear on the big screen, but his character didn't become a fan favorite. This was due to the fact that in the film, Marvel accidentally kills the 12-year-old Rue, played by Amandla Stenberg, and then dies himself. Many years later, Stenberg jokingly stated that she forgives Quaid, to which he replied, "Oh my god, people have been spitting at me on the streets for years." In the second part of The Hunger Games, Catching Fire, released in 2013, Quaid's character returned in the form of a hallucination. Additionally, the actor appeared in several short films. Honing acting skills. Jack, who had been protected from paparazzi by his parents since childhood, used to keep his personal life private. His name didn't appear in the gossip columns or scandals. However, Jack's fans discovered that early in his career that he dated Bono's daughter, Eve Hewson. In that same year, 2013, Quaid, along with some friends, created the sketch group Sasquatch Comedy. In 2014, the first episodes of their comedy show were released on YouTube. The videos continued to appear regularly on their channel for a few more years, but gradually tapered off due to Jack's increasing workload. Meanwhile, the actor's filmography expanded with the dramedy Just Before I Go, directed by Courtney Cox.
I'm done with this guy anyway. Oh, hey, Mr. James, come on, guys, let's go.
The movie didn't have a wide release and was panned by critics. As Jack admitted, at the start of his career, he wasn't focused on gaining popularity. What mattered to him was earning recognition for his talent from his parents. Working with Martin Scorsese, soon, Jack got a role in Martin Scorsese's series Vinyl. The project was the director's love letter to the 1970s, and Quaid played Clark Morello, a music label manager.
Check it out, Norm. Eva likes him.
Eva?
Yeah, Eva Marie Snake.
I get that, it's funny.
Whoa, relax, man. She smells fear. Okay, we'll have a hard time prying her loose.
Among the other characters, Clark stands out as the most normal, a sort of island of ordinariness in a sea of excess. He's just a goofball who got lucky enough to work at a truly historic place, Quaid says about his character. While the other actors drew inspiration from the biographies of such iconic figures as Elvis Presley, Iggy Pop, and Lou Reed, Jack played a version of himself, as if he had the most ordinary job. The young actor was terribly nervous, realizing how rare an opportunity it was to work with Scorsese. Fortunately for him, Mick Jagger, the co-writer of the script, didn't show up on set. Otherwise, Jack might not have been able to handle his anxiety. He only got to meet the legendary rocker at the series premiere. Scorsese's creation received generally positive reviews. However, as the series progressed, the reviews became more critical. Initially, a second season was planned, but a couple of months after the project's conclusion, the continuation was canceled, and in 2017, he appeared in the horror comedy Tragedy Girls and the crime comedy Logan Lucky.
We need like a computer whiz, like one of them Facebook boys.
I know everything there is to know about computers, okay? All the Twitters, I know them. But me and Sam just ain't sure we can help y'all.
While these films didn't gain much popularity with audiences, they were positively received by critics. Romantic comedy in real life. At the end of the year, the name of Jack's girlfriend was revealed. Actress and comedian Lizzie McGroder. They had met the previous year, and their encounter happened in the best tradition of romantic comedies. Jack was having a drink at a bar where Lizzie was performing a comedy improv. Suddenly, she called out to Quaid, "Hey, you, come here, you're late. Mom's going to cancel the trip to Mexico." Jack, who also had a background in comedy, played along, and they spent the rest of the evening sharing stories about their lives. Soon after, the couple moved in together and began working on projects as a team. Quaid starred in several short movies directed by McGroder and joined her in an ad campaign for the New York brand Francis Valentine. He admitted that she gave him a lot of helpful advice on photo shoots, as she had experience working as a model. In 2018, the film adaptation of the popular game Rampage was released. In this action-adventure fantasy, the main character was played by Dwayne Johnson, while Quaid had a supporting role as Connor. Additionally, the actor voiced one of the characters in the animated movie Smallfoot. This wasn't Jack's first experience as a voice actor. He had previously worked on the video game Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor. Romantic comedy on screen. The year 2019 can rightfully be called a breakthrough in our hero's career. In April, he presented his first romantic comedy titled Plus One. His mother, Meg Ryan, starred in one of the most popular films of this genre, When Harry Met Sally, so Jack didn't want to fall short in comparison. Interestingly, Quaid only watched one of the biggest hits of his mother's career while preparing to film Plus One. This was because of the iconic orgasm scene. It had always been awkward for him to watch his mom make those sounds on screen. but after overcoming his embarrassment, he was thrilled by her performance alongside Billy Crystal. It has now become one of his favorite films in his mother's filmography, something he immediately shared with her over the phone after watching. Jack teared up during the final credits and called Ryan to tell her how proud he was of her. Meg reciprocated the sentiment and proudly talked about her son's role in the new romantic comedy. Plus One tells the story of a guy and a girl who have known each other for many years and decide to pretend to be a couple at a mutual friend's wedding to avoid pitying looks.
Can we go get fucked up?
Oh, Ben, I want you to know something. I'm never gonna say no to that. Come on, let's go find some people our own age.
While the film didn't achieve the same level of success as When Harry Met Sally, it was well received by critics and audiences alike, who praised the chemistry between the lead actors and their comedic talent. A few years later, after its theatrical release, Plus One was added to Netflix, gaining a new life and attracting a new audience: The Boys. However, Jack's biggest success came in July, when the series The Boys, based on the comic of the same name, premiered on Amazon's streaming service. This show brought Quaid into the spotlight for a wider audience. His character, Huey Campbell, an electronics store clerk, was originally modeled after actor Simon Pegg during his time on the show Spaced. By the time The Boys was being filmed, Pegg was no longer the right age for the role, so he played Huey's father instead. To better immerse himself in the role, Jack created a special playlist for his character.
You just want to kick back, drink a few Mai Tais, and let us do all the work, is that it?
You know, I managed to go my whole life without seeing someone die horribly, and now I'm up to about a half dozen, so I think I'm good.
Please, you're a f***ing killer, Huey.
The series parodies the superhero movie genre. The action takes place in a world where superheroes have become commonplace, and their personal qualities leave much to be desired. This fresh and daring approach paid off, with the first season bringing in 8 million viewers to Amazon Prime within just 10 days. "It's some kind of miracle," Jack commented on the show's success, admitting that he was incredibly happy throughout the entire filming process. The work on the show truly took place in a friendly atmosphere, and the actors often ruined takes with their laughter, like the time when Jack got lost in the enormous set. In addition, in 2019, Quaid began voicing a children's animated series called Harvey Street Kids, where he played various roles over 2 years. Meanwhile, the second season of The Boys was released, becoming even more successful than the first one. It increased the show's audience by 89%. Interestingly, filming the scene where the Deep hunts down the boys left Jack with unforgettable experiences, in a bad way. The boat was driven by Carl Urban, who gave his colleagues a safe word to use in case of unforeseen situations. However, the helicopter filming the scene and the strong wind prevented Urban from hearing Jack's frantic scream. The boat was literally flying over the waves at high speed, and Jack, sitting right in front of the helm, was pale after the first take. For the second take, a stunt double replaced him, who handled the extreme speed better. New projects and new love. In 2021, Jack's voice could be heard in episodes of the animated series Solar Opposites, Batman: The Long Halloween, and the fantasy miniseries Solos. Additionally, he became part of the Star Trek franchise, voicing Bradward Boimler. During this period, it also became known that Quaid and Lizzie McGroder had split up. They stopped appearing on each other's social media, and soon rumors began circulating that Jack was dating his The Boys co-star, Claudia Dumit. This turned out to be true, and they were spotted together outside the set. They were seen walking hand in hand around Sydney, and a few years later, Jack happily shared plans to spend Valentine's Day with Claudia at Disneyland. Despite his parents' high-profile divorce, Jack hasn't lost faith in the idea of marriage and hopes to start a family someday, though he's not thinking about it just yet. Scream. Meanwhile, while fans of The Boys were eagerly awaiting the third season, in January, the horror film Scream premiered, where Jack played one of the central characters.
I think the other killer might be Tara.
What?
She's the one that brought us here, and you two have been estranged for years. I mean, how well do you really know her?
Better than I know you.
He took on the role of Richie Kirsch, and to prepare for it, Quaid delved into the world of toxic fandoms. He created a fake account on Reddit and trolled Star Wars: The Last Jedi, claiming that the movie had ruined the franchise and betrayed the original series. Jack hoped that no one would recognize him, but the post sparked such intense discussions that his identity was uncovered. He had to clarify that he actually loves Star Wars and was just trying to rile people up for research purposes.
It really was the best choice for the movie.
Incidentally, becoming part of the Star Wars franchise is one of Jack's biggest dreams. As a child, he dressed up as Luke Skywalker, and now he's ready to play any role, even a droid or a speck of sand on Tatooine. Jack also loves horror movies, so he thoroughly enjoyed working on Scream and did a lot of improvisation. Directors Matt Bettinelli-Olpin and Tyler Gillette encouraged this approach, but kept the actors within certain boundaries. The final cut included many improvisational moments, not only from Jack, but from other actors as well. Most of Richie's comedic scenes are thanks to Jack's own contributions rather than the script. Two sides of the superhero coin. In the summer of 2022, the third season of The Boys was released, and the series was immediately renewed for a fourth season.
You didn't storm shit. Your whole Marlboro Man act, it's fucking crap. And
Interestingly, in one of the episodes, Quaid's character, Huey, struggles to open a jar of mustard, prompting fans to start sending the actor instructions and links to buy jar openers. Jack appreciated the joke and was delighted that the Boys fan base is so kind, despite the show's cynical nature. In 2023, Quaid took on the roles of two superheroes, lending his voice to the animated film Spider-Man, Across the Spider-Verse, and the animated series My Adventures with Superman. "It's a dream come true," Jack said about these projects. He grew up as a huge comic book fan and never imagined he'd get the chance to play Superman. Additionally, he found it fascinating to work on classic superheroes after the sarcastic tone of The Boys. "Playing both sides of this superhero coin is such an honor," he admitted. Oppenheimer. In addition, 2023 saw the release of the biopic Oppenheimer. Jack Quaid's role was kept under wraps for a long time. He only mentioned that his character was based on a real person who had certain hobbies that he tried to take up himself. It was later revealed that Jack played the American physicist Richard Feynman. While it's unclear which hobby Jack tried, the scientist was known to be a decent portrait artist, played unique percussion instruments, and enjoyed cracking safes for fun. An interesting story happened to Quaid during the filming of Oppenheimer. He took a taxi from his hotel in New Mexico to a local grocery store, filled up his cart, and then realized he had no way to get back since there were no Uber cars available in the area. He ended up borrowing the shopping cart and pushing it all the way back to the hotel. This experience gave him the idea to rent a minivan so that he and other members of the film crew could make grocery runs. Jack later joked that he essentially became the bus driver during the filming of Oppenheimer. To coordinate this process, he created a group chat, which, thanks to Olivia Thirlby, was aptly named Oppenhomies. This chat became the main way the actors stayed in touch even after filming wrapped. Oppenheimer was released in July 2023, becoming the highest-grossing World War II film worldwide.
Fine. Now, the glass stops the UV. And what stops the glass?
At the same time, the actors and writers' strike was ongoing, delaying the production of the next season of The Boys. The show's actors also supported the industry's demands for better working conditions and higher wages, with Jack Quaid among those who joined the picket lines. Incidentally, Jack is outspoken about his views and doesn't shy away from important political events in the country. For example, he encourages his followers to vote in elections. New projects. The fourth season of The Boys was released in June 2024, and Jack called it his favorite. It features many shocking moments, and the characters are explored more deeply and in greater detail. Quaid's salary for this season was $55,000 per episode.
I can explain. all right? It's all good. Look, I know what this looks like. With everything that we've been through together, I have never once asked you to trust me. I am asking now, like the way you used to trust Lenny. Please, Butcher.
Recently, the actor lent his voice to a new audiobook by detective author Michael Connelly titled The Safe Man. There are rumors that this story might be adapted into a film, and the author himself wouldn't mind seeing Quaid in the cast. The release of the 5th, and likely final, season of The Boys has already been confirmed, with filming set to begin in 2025. Meanwhile, Jack is working on the action thriller Novocaine, where he will play a bank employee, as well as the action comedy Heads of State. Quaid admitted that he isn't picky about future projects. He's just happy to get work. He views each role as an opportunity and tries to find something interesting in the character. Additionally, he's exploring his creative potential by getting involved in script writing and producing small projects. Sources of inspiration. Jack enjoys spending time outdoors, engaging in activities like hiking and surfing. In his free time, he also plays video games, dabbles in photography, and loves exploring different cuisines from around the world, discovering new flavors. Musically, he prefers listening to bands like the Beatles, Led Zeppelin, and the Rolling Stones. As an actor, Jack loves watching TV shows and movies, studying various genres and directorial styles. He draws inspiration from actors such as Robert De Niro, Tom Hanks, Meryl Streep, Jim Carrey, and Robin Williams. He's also a big fan of the American comedy duo Bud Abbott and Lou Costello, particularly enjoying the film Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. One of his current favorite shows is the Netflix series Mindhunter, a psychological thriller about FBI behavioral science unit agents. In addition to English, Jack is fluent in Spanish. He is actively involved in environmental conservation and animal protection initiatives. He has a reputation for being a genuinely nice guy. Gossip websites frequently post about his kindness towards service staff. Jack is also well regarded among his colleagues, although Christopher Walken somehow confuses him with Shia LaBeouf. Once, when they crossed paths at an airport, Walken approached Jack and asked if he was the kid from the Transformers movies. Jack had to disappoint Walken and clarify that it wasn't him. As we've mentioned, Jack's mom is proud of him, but his father doesn't miss an opportunity to praise him either. Dennis Quaid speaks highly of his son's work, admires the person Jack has become, and his independence. Jack himself says that his life principle is, if something scares you, do it, because that's probably how you'll get the result you need. Net worth and houses of Quaid. Quaid's net worth is estimated at $4 million. Not bad, considering he's still at the beginning of his career. The actor lives in Los Angeles, but his home is mostly seen in selfies on social media. From what can be observed, the interiors are done in calm, understated colors, with an emphasis on abstract paintings or comic book style drawings. He also spends a lot of time in Toronto, where The Boys is filmed. There's much more information available about where Jack lived during his childhood. Meg Ryan and Dennis Quaid lived together in an apartment on the Upper East Side. It featured 3 bedrooms, a spacious yet cozy kitchen, a dining room, and a library, combined with a study. The couple purchased the 12th floor apartment in 1997 for $3,100,000 and sold it in 2001 after their divorce. Afterward, Meg moved through several apartments in downtown New York before eventually relocating to the West Coast. Jack's childhood, after his parents' divorce, was spent in Los Angeles, where Meg bought a 2-story mansion with 6 bedrooms, a guest house, and a backyard pool. Ryan could also spend time with her son at her mansion on Chappaquiddick Island in Massachusetts.
Great speech. Thank you. Here, get over here.
So, what do you think? Is Jack Quaid's success due to his own efforts? Or did he just get lucky with his parents?